Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun. Today's Mishnayos, is Perek Hey, Mishnayos Zayin and Ches, Maseches Eiruvin. I want to focus on Mishnah Ches over here. Mishnah Ches talks about you have two cities. You have an urban city and a suburban city. Suburban, that's why it's called suburban. Suburban, right? Think about New York City, think about Nassau County, 5 towns. They're not part except West Hampstead. My parents are from it. It's not part, it's suburbia. Suburbia. It's not part of the urban city. So you have a big city. New York City is home to, I believe, about 8 million people. Obviously, New York City includes the 5 boroughs. 8 million people in New York City. And you want to walk, right? Now, I don't know if there's an open space between, I don't think there is really, between New York City and the suburbans, Nassau County. But let's say you wanted, you were in a big city and there was a space of wilderness, less than 2,000 hours between the big city and the small city, the suburban city. So since there's 2,000 hours, less than 2,000 hours between them, you can walk to the small city, and you can walk also outside to the small city, even though you don't part your Eruv in the small city. You can walk outside the small city, 2,000 amos, because you can get to the small city because it's within 2,000 amos, and then the Yerktana also. I can walk 2,000 amos from the Yerktana. However, if you live in the suburban area, Nassau County, just for example, in West Hampstead, so you want to go to New York City, yes, you can go to New York City, you can go to Manhattan, because the city is within 2,000 amos of open space, less than 2,000 amos of open space, but you can't walk outside New York City. Unless you want to go to New Jersey, you can't. You go to the Lincoln Tunnel, you can't do that because you can only stay in the big city. You don't get 2,000 amos out of the big city. Why is that? Unless you put your Eruv. If you put your Eruv in New York City, then you could, as the Mishnah continues to say. But if you didn't put an Eruv there, you can't. So what's the difference? Why the Yer Gedola gets 2,000 amos outside the Yerktana, but the Yerktana doesn't get 2,000 amos outside the Yer Gedola? The answer is that, just think about it, urban and suburban, right? Suburban is from sub, which is subordinate, right? Subsidiary, right? You have the parent company and you have the subsidiary, right? Which owns the rights to, a company. It's not considered the parent company, it's a subsidiary. So, or like Ikar V'Tafel, if they were learning Hilchos Brachos and Shulchan Aruch Yomi, you have something which is subordinate, a subsidiary to the main thing. So therefore, the smaller city is considered part of the bigger city, right? Suburban is considered part of the urban. But no one would ever say that the suburban, right, includes the urban. Suburban is separate from the urban. It's less than the urban. So therefore, since it's less than the urban, when you travel 2,000 amos to the Yer Gedola, right, that's only because you still remain in the Yerktana, right? When I'm in the Yer Gedola, New York City, so I could say also the suburban area, West Hampstead, is part of New York City. I could say that. You can never say if I live in West Hampstead, I can't say I live in New York City. If I live in New York City, I can say West Hampstead is also my city because it's subordinate to New York City. But if I live in West Hampstead, I can't say, New York City, I live in New York City. You don't live in New York City. You live in Nassau County. You live in the suburban area because that's just the way Ikar and Tafel work. You have the parent company, you have the subsidiary, subordinate, anything which is subordinate to the main thing. So you can never say that when I live in West Hampstead, I live in New York City. So I can technically go to New York City because less than 2,000 amos between Nassau County and New York City. However, I can't walk 2,000 amos outside of the Yer Gedola out of New York City because I don't live in New York City. It's not my shvisa. It's not my makom. But if I live in New York City, I can say I also live in West Hampstead. So therefore, I can go to West Hampstead. I can do 2,000 amos outside. Because once I have a shvisa, I'm kona shvisa, residence in New York City, right? Included in my residence, not only do I live in the urban city, I also live in the suburban city, right? That's the way it works. Ikar V'Tafel. I also live in, so therefore I get 2,000 hours even outside West Hampstead, as opposed to live in the suburban area. That's my shvisa. I can't say New York City is my shvisa, so I only get 2,000 amos, which allows me to walk to New York City, but I don't get outside of New York City in addition to the 2,000 amos. Just to explain the Mishnah a little deeper. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.